So while we're doing our coilovers, since we've got the car apart and got the underbelly going, we're going to go ahead and change out our sway bars as well. These sway bars are made to articulate up and down at the same rate, but reduce your body roll because they don't twist. These are very sturdy bars, brought to you by Ebach. We've got one for the front and the rear. The front is a lot meatier. It's easier to tell which one's the front. And this mounts underneath the car and connects to your suspension system, which allows it to be a lot stiffer, which is going to give you better cornering. It's going to be flatter instead of having all that body roll. So we're going to put this on and see what kind of difference we get out of that. So when you're doing these sway bars, this is your sway bar end link, and you've got a 14mm nut that goes here, which is this one in my hand. So all you gotta do is remove that, and then there are two bolts here. I think they're 12mm. They look a little bit smaller, but they might be 14s. And it's the same on either side. There's just one bolt here, two bolts here, and these whole assemblies drop out, and then you gotta kind of work it around all your AC lines if you've got AC. And then it should pop right out, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison on our thickness of these bars so you can see the difference. But what these do is articulate up and down. I can't move this suspension right now on these bolts. These pick it up, and both sides can move together when you hit a bump all at once. However, when you're cornering, these reduce your body roll because it does not want to twist. It only wants to move together.
Alright, so we've gotten the 4 bolts off both sides for the bracket. This sway bar is just loose hanging here, and it appears that it's going to be significantly easier to bring it out this way down the driver's side of the car. Now, I'm going to drop the camera here instead of filming this because it's nice to have a buddy here to help.
So these are our new sway bars as compared to our old ones. You can see how the thickness on this new bar, it's just a lot bigger, a lot meatier, and a lot stiffer. So it's going to allow us to handle a lot better and flatter. One thing we do have to do is put on our new bushings. This Ebach kit does come with new bushings and retainers. And all you gotta do is take the supplied lubricant, put it on the inside of your bushing here. And then these are, they've got a slit in them where you can slide them over the bar. They go just outside of this retaining ring. They slide over. And when you've got it greased, that's gonna reduce some of your NVH, your noise, vibration, harshness. And it's going to give you a nice smooth ride that's flat and fun.
Now, one thing that the kit didn't come with that you might want if you are working on an older or higher miles car is new hardware. So there was no new hardware included in it. Now, our car is so nice we're not going to use new bolts, but that may be something that you want to order if you've got an older, higher miles or northern car. Alright, so one thing that we did that you might want to do a little bit differently is we went ahead and greased these and put the brackets on the sway bar before putting the sway bar in the car. It might be a little bit easier to put the sway bar in the car, get it in position, then grease it and put your mount in. Now, we're getting everything kind of tightened up now, but before you tighten the bolts that actually hold the sway bar to the car, you need to be sure you go ahead and get these end links into the sway bar before you get everything tightened up. That way you're sure you can get everything in place.
Alright, so doing the rear sway bar, we've got the end link here, which is a 14mm bolt here on the end. And then you've got two more here that feel like 14s as well, but the fronts were 12, so we'll figure that out here in a second. But they're going to be right up under here. Pretty easy access from both sides. Alright, so now we've got our rear bars side by side, and you can see these are pretty flimsy. I can almost twist them myself. These are a lot sturdier, and I think that's going to make a big difference in our ride quality. Now, the difference on the backs, they do not supply you with the new hangers. Jezebel. So you want to pull off the original hangers and use them on your new ones, and it's the same story here. We need to lubricate the inside of these and the outside before we put them on outside of these retainers. Pro tip, wear gloves. I didn't, doing that on the front, and soap does not get the supplied lubricant off your hands very well, so do wear gloves when you do that.
Jezebel. Jezebel.
So one thing you'll notice on these is that these ends are not straight up and down. They are tilted to the side. So when you're installing this on the car, make sure that the Eibach is upright and your end links should go in just fine.
Alright, so we have the sway bar mounted in place in the car. Now before we tighten this down, we want to be sure that we go ahead and put the end link in. We're going to put the end link in the middle position of the three here. Give it a little bit more compliancy and to allow us to move it either direction later if we want to with ease, but we want to be sure we do that before we tighten it all the way down.
So we got the sway bars in, and after some testing, it is a different car. Between them and the coilovers, I think that's made the biggest difference so far in the car. But the sway bars really helped handle flat, which was very comfortable while you're driving, and it does highlight the fact that you may want a racing seat in that car, because now you're having to hold yourself in that seat because you're going around turning so fast that your body's being pulled in either way. So we are going to have to look into some racing seats to hold you in place, and that's largely due to the sway bars doing their job and making that car handle flat. So I highly suggest putting a thicker set of sways on your car if you do plan on doing any track abuse or just road driving. It just made the car feel so much better planted, along with some good grippy tires. So be sure to do that on your Miata as well, and really any street going car could benefit for some upgraded sways. That's all we got for you today. We'll see you next time on Tack and Track.